began in Dr. Martindale's office, which as soon as he retired was to be my office, on a cool spring afternoon in 1921.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty slow here to live, I guess.
Yep, there's not much excitement around here. Here's something. And selected as their choice, American elms, the trees will be planted on the Lewis Wilson farm above the Coon River. Mr. Wilson has agreed to donate a small plot of ground for this purpose. It is thought that these trees, standing on a high hill above the river and overlooking a majestic view of our city, will be a fitting memorial. Ceremonies are to begin at 2 p.m. and it is urged that all local people attend. Reverend J. Medley William of the Baptist Church will deliver a... Yeah, there's not much excitement around here. Life comes and goes without much of a hullabaloo.
I'd like to get commented on a murder every once in a while.
Murders. Once before the war, there was a Mexican warden who stabbed his wife. Then back in '96, there's an insane farmer who shot his wife. Come to think of it, there's only been 2 murders since 1861.
Who was killed in 1861?
Well, my father and my brother.
Sorry, doctor, I didn't...
No matter. It was a long time ago and I was little then.
What are the details, that is?
I don't mind. Just relax and I'll tell you. My brother Titus, he was a lot older. He'd ran away from home when he was small and had gone west with some folks. He didn't come back until the spring of '61. Oh, what a time. Titus had struck it rich. He had about $7,000 of gold with him. Upon Titus decided to take the gold to Hamilton. There was sort of a bank open there, and the folks were afraid to risk keeping so much money at home. They were pretty careful too, and they didn't tell anyone around town about what they had planned. They started out at night, figuring to get clear away from the cottonwood and the settlers who knew them before daylight. Pont and Titus were strapping big men. They looked very strong, setting up and on the board laid across the plank wagon box, and Titus carried a Navy revolver on his hip and sharp knives across his knees. On the evening of the second day after my folks left, a farmer from the Salt Creek neighborhood rode up in the front of our house and said he had seen our team down in a clump of willows by a little hill slope, hitched to a wagon, but the menfolk were not with the wagon. The team had been dragging around and tried to get home, but they had got hung up in the willows. That was a terrible night. Before we all got down the little hill slope, most of the neighbors were with us. We found the team in their willows, pretty muddy and hungry and tangled up in the harness too. None of the stuff in the wagon had been taken, except, sure, the gold was gone. The blankets were still there, and Titus's rifle, but his Navy revolver wasn't anywhere around, and there was no sign of Paul and Titus. I searched for months, and Eli Goble helped me too.
Who's Eli Goble?
He owns everything.
Oh, he's rich, isn't he?
You're suspecting him, aren't you? I don't think anybody ever has before. Well, that's pretty much the story. Hello? You're using that stimulant I gave you, aren't you? Yes, I'm leaving the office now. I'll stop by. Alright, bye. Come on. Eli Goble gives part to city. Local businessman and pioneer settler decides on memorial. Plans change for tomorrow's dedication. At a special meeting of the City Council this afternoon, it was unanimously agreed to accept the gift tendered by Eli Goble, revered Civil War veteran and early settler in Cottonwood, who today offered to give the town of Cottonwood some 30 acres of beautiful woodland to be known as the Goble Memorial Park. It is understood that Mr. Goble has been ill, and that is the reason for the delay in his plans. The grand old man of Crockett County stipulated in the terms of his gift that the proposed memorial grove trees be set out somewhere in the new park area. This necessitated a hastily change in plans. Instead of being planted on the North Hill, on the Lewis Wilson farm above the Coon River, the trees will be set out on the brow of the East Hill, which is included in the 30 acres donated by Mr. Goble. A big parade forming in the City Hall Square and proceeding across the East Bridge toward the new park will officially open Arbor Day ceremonies at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, following an invocation by Reverend J. Medley Williams. The Cottonwood City Band will... That's the first thing that I've heard Eli Goble ever giving anything away for free. That's very strange. Well, we gotta get back to work. do a little digging.
Appendectomy or what?
Nothing so unimportant. No one knows what we're doing. We're just gonna go digging. We're at the North Hill. The town's right there.
Look at the flowers. I've never seen anything like them. What are they?
They are wind flowers or Easter flowers. They're the oldest flowers that we have here. Well, I must start getting busy. Murdered. There's a sheet and a grain sack or two in the car. Will you go get them for me?
Mr. Goebel!
Yes.
Get in the car. As the sheriff of Crockett County, you are under arrest for the murder of Titus and William Martindale around the month of April 1861.
What? Who?
Drive us to the sheriff
It
department.
wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't murder him.
It took me 60 years to finally figure it out. When we had the North Hill to plant the trees, and you insisted on giving the East Hill, it was the first thing you had ever given away. And I knew you would never give anything away for free because you're Scrooge. We found things on the hill. She was my witness, and we found their bodies, and we found the revolver with his name engraved in it.
How does that prove I did it?
They were murdered with a hatchet. I have telegrams here saying that you were the only person that could throw a hatchet. Clell Howard, who was the old mayor, and Ephraim's spokesman, everyone knew him, both saying that you were the only one in the town that could use a hatchet. The bodies are in this room right here.
It was me. I murdered him. I did it.
You saw the gold at your house and you followed them out to the East Prairie, or maybe you were just lying there waiting for them. You killed them from ambush. You left the bodies in the wagon, took the team, and drove out to the North Hill. It was a long drive, must have taken you hours to get over there, but you figured that nobody ever went up there. It was away from the beaten track, and there would be a good place to hide the bodies. You buried them out there on the North Hill. You probably scattered lots of grass and brush around. Titus had a gun strapped on, and you left them in the ground, just as they were. You didn't take anything out of the wagon except those buckskin bags. Then you drove over by Little Hill Slow, and you left the team there and skinned out. Took the gold somewhere and hid it, probably.
Then you laid low and waited to join in the search. You were clever, Eli. You helped me search too. Oh, how we searched. We even went right across the North Hill, but we never saw anything that looked like a grave. You kept it covered, Eli. You were smart.
What are you going to do? Send me to prison, have me hanged? I'm too old for all of that punishment.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. $7,000 is probably worth $2 million today. But that wouldn't do any good because it won't bring Father and Titus back.
How about donating $1 million to a medical hospital and all medical assistance is free?
Okay, yes, I'll do it. Whatever. I'm too old for punishment. I'll do it. And plus, I don't want to be in the room with them.
Okay. How did you know where to start digging?
The windflowers. Like you said, they're beautiful things. They were growing all over that hill except for that one spot. They only grow where the soil is native and where it's never been turned.